In the heat of battle, a group of Ottoman cavalry suddenly turns back, retreating fast. The enemy cheers, believing the Ottomans are fleeing. But what they don't know is that they've just entered a trap centuries in the making. This was no ordinary retreat. It was the Turan tactic, a battle maneuver so cunning, so devastating, that it shaped the outcome of wars from the steppes of Central Asia to the gates of Europe. But what exactly was this tactic? Where did it come from? And how did the Ottomans use it to outwit entire armies? Let's dive into the brilliant, brutal chess game that was the Turan tactic. The roots of the Turan tactic go back over 1,000 years to the great horsemen of the steppe, the Huns, the Gagturks, and the Seljuks. It was perfected not with massive armies or firepower, but with speed, mobility, and deception. Here's how it worked. The army would engage the enemy briefly, then pretend to flee. This fake retreat lured the enemy into a false sense of victory. Excited and overconfident, they would pursue, often into narrow terrain, valleys, or open plains with no cover. And just when they were most vulnerable, the retreating force would suddenly turn around, while hidden flanks would strike from the sides, surrounded, outmaneuvered, crushed. It was psychological warfare at its finest, weaponizing pride, haste, and ego against the enemy. Now let's fast forward to 1473. It's the Battle of Otluk-Bely, a perfect example of the Turan tactic used by the Ottomans against a formidable foe, Uzenhazen, the ruler of the Akunlu Confederation. Uzenhazen had a massive army, and he believed sheer numbers would win the day. But Mehmed the Conqueror, the mastermind behind Constantinople's fall, had no intention of fighting a fair fight. Instead, he turned to the tactics of his Turkic ancestors. Ottoman light cavalry began by engaging Uzenhazen's forces briefly, and then retreated across the open terrain. The Akunlu army, believing the Ottomans were breaking ranks, charged forward. But they didn't realize they were being drawn into a kill zone. As they entered narrow passes, the Ottoman cavalry suddenly turned. Hidden flanks emerged from the hills. Arrows rained from all directions. Then came the heavy Ottoman cavalry from behind. Chaos. Within hours, Uzenhazen's troops were surrounded and shattered. His great campaign crumbled, and he barely escaped with his life. The Turan tactic had worked again, not just as a maneuver, but as a test of psychological dominance. So why was it so effective? Because it tricked the enemy into doing exactly what you wanted them to do. It preyed on their instincts, their hunger for victory, their fear of retreat. It turned the battlefield into a stage where the Ottomans were both actors and directors. They controlled the tempo, the terrain, and the perception of power. But this tactic wasn't easy to pull off. It required discipline, training, and perfect timing. Retreat too slowly, and you're cut down. Too fast, and the enemy won't follow. Flank too early, and they escape. It's too late, and your center breaks. The soldiers who carried it out, like the Ottoman Akanki cavalry, had to be fast, fearless, and precise. And when it worked, it was devastating. Though warfare has evolved, the principles behind the Turan tactic live on. Modern military academies still study it as a textbook example of strategic deception. Because in war, brute force alone is never enough. Victory belongs to those who know how to think, how to make the enemy believe they are winning. Just before you deliver the final blow, the Ottomans knew this. And at Otluk-Bely, they proved it. So the next time you hear about massive empires and legendary conquests, remember, sometimes the greatest power lies not in pressing forward, but in knowing exactly when to pull back. If you enjoyed this journey through Ottoman battlefield strategy, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more history that hits harder than a cavalry charge. Until next time, stay curious and stay sharp.